Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's
Race
day.
Woo-hoo!
Ronnie, how happy are folks who save hundreds of dollars switching to Geico? I'd say happier than a camel on
race
day.
race.
Hey,
Get happy.
yeah.
Get Geico.
Good evening, race fans, friends, and neighbors. We've got another exciting week of Sunday Night Skippy racing action coming to you live from not Suzuka, as the stream would say, but Watkins, Glen. I tried to update that after the fact, but I don't think it took. So we are in fact racing the boot configuration of Watkins, Glen tonight. You are about to watch the Sunday Night Skippy Formula 2 race, which will begin here shortly. And the Skippy Formula 1 race, we will continue one stream as we did last week and the week before. It seemed to work out pretty well. And that will occur right around after 9 p.m., so in right about an hour from now. Weather conditions are good for the race tonight. Let's check in live as the open qualifying session is about to come to an end. We've got Dan Pagowski currently sitting on the provisional pole, and a very good showing for him tonight. Pim Luth currently on the front row with him. And you can see there we got just about 30 seconds left on the open qualifying session. If you were on a lap while that was happening, then you can finish that lap. So it may be just a little bit longer than that. And it wouldn't be another Sunday Night Skippy week without some technical difficulties. Of course, I had to reset everything once again, so hopefully we won't run into quite as many issues as we did last week, but here's to hoping. And that's going to be Kent Kirkendall crossing the line there, and he's going to start his last lap. He got in just under the line, currently sitting in 6th place on the grid. Robert Longitano ahead of him is off the track currently, so that looks like a 0.01 difference between their times. See if Kent with just a little lighter fuel load can make up the difference and gain one spot there for the start. And Dan Pagowski is currently sitting on pole, is about to finish his lap. Ian Worrell crosses the line, and he's going to take over that top spot. Congratulations to Ian, although there are a few people left. Peter Lee is going to bring home the 5th grid position. Peter Lee is up on our live stream, so we'll check in with him later. Good enough to do that for us for the Formula 2 race. Dmitry Korblev, I apologize if I'm butchering that last name, I probably am. We will chat later. Newcomer Dmitry is sitting in the 10th qualifying position right now, and that's going to be the end of his run. And Kent, who we were just focusing on for the last little bit there, is going to be the last driver to cross the line and set his final time, with Peter and Ian bumping him down 2 spots right now. See if he can't get that back. At least one green sector in there. Will it be enough? Nope, a little off pace, but that's all right. Still not a terrible position on our what will be a 12 driver grid for the Formula 2 race this evening. And unfortunately, I am not going to be joined by anybody in the broadcast booth, so you get to listen to just me talk to myself for the majority of the evening. And let's see if we can't listen in to the race briefing.
Botched it.
Well, I thought it was over. Maybe newcomer Dimitri was able to get across the line there with enough time to extend the session a little further. I must have missed that. Nope, maybe not. There we go. So the grid will be set for the race tonight.
All right, guys. Same stuff as normal. Have fun. Enjoy the race. There's unlimited repairs. Yeah, just, remember cold tires. And I think that's about it, really. 2 pit stops. You're running about 38% fuel. 34%, I believe it is. 34% fuel. So it should be good. And it's a 35-minute race. Any questions from anybody? Superb. Okay, cool.
That'll be it. It looks like we've got about a minute left here. That is your grid. Congratulations to Ian on the pole. We'll hope to check in with him later. Leave him alone, though. Hoping to gain his first victories in the Skippy Formula 2 Series. Dan Pagowski, Pim Luth, Jake Ashe, Peter Lee, Robert Longatano, Kent Kirkendall, Joe Zubovich, Rich Butler, Dmitry Korblev, Phil Arakelian, and Keith Lee will be your grid for this evening. And the lights go out. Ian's going to lead the field down into turn 1. Looks like the field's able to make it pretty cleanly down there as they go up the hill. As a reminder, this is the boot configuration, a little different configuration that what we used last time. And here they come down their first trip through the bus stop. Always fun on cold tires. As you can see, Pim getting just a little bit off sorts there. He's going to swing to the outside and get Freight Train just a little bit, but he'll be able to slide back in right there behind the 24 of Peter Lee. Speaking of Peter, let's check in real quick. Oh, is that Ian off? Oh no! And we missed what happened there, but it does look like Ian is going to be okay. Maybe a little bit of damage there. Looks like you can see that front wing bent just a bit. Probably be kicking himself for that one, and all out of sorts. Now that's going to leave Dan Pagowski to lead the field. And they're going to bring it up through the boot and exit out. As they make their way around. All right, so before Ian unfortunately had the little bit of off track, we were going to check in with Peter Lee, who's currently sitting in third here. And let's get Peter's first person view of the action. And it didn't save again. That is my left foot. There you go. That's gonna have to reposition that once again. Great onboard footage there. You can see the side-by-side battle of Jake And Dan, as they go down into the bus stop, they're going to go too wide. Going to make it work. Dan's going to have the nice inside line there, though, through the carousel. And that is just terrible positioning right there. We'll bring Peter's. Oops. Our Scott Bell will come in later. And Danny Pegaski, let's see if I can't change that information just a little bit. That is from the Winter Challenge for Charity. Dan was racing last night for the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. And Jake's going to look inside again. Gonna maybe have to over under a little bit here, but that's just gonna open the door for Peter Lee. They get it sorted. There's some great racing back here going on too. Ken Kirkendall and Dimitri Korblev making the pass on Robert Longitano. Hundredths of a second separate these drivers as they head down one more time across the start-finish line into turn 1. And then up the hill. And Peter just getting right down in there. Really trying to work that draft. He's going to make the move to the outside. And for the moment is ahead of Jake. And Jake having to go off his line there a little bit. You can see the little juke maneuver. Oh, and we've got cars off track. We've got, looks like Phil Erikellian, Joe Zubovich has crashed. Let's go back and take a look at what may have happened there. And Robert Longitano. There seems to be quite a bit happening. Only a few cars left up there. This is Phil's view of what's going on. Oh, two separate incidents. That looked like a little bit like netcode there, but let's see what happened with Joe. Oh, that was Joe who had gone off, and yeah, didn't look quite like they had made contact yet, but maybe we're going to anyway. Tough to tell. And we're going to have to back all the way up here to see what happened with Robert Longitano. Locking up the brakes, getting into the 10 of Dimitri there, and nose cones go flying. A little worse for the wear, but we'll go back live. That's going to leave Dan Pogowski leading Peter Lee, Jake Ashe, putting a little bit of a gap there on Pim. And further back, really, we still got Bill and who is that? Is that? Nope. I think that was Dimitri diving into the pits there. Robert. So Robert Longitano, Phil Erikellian, all in the pits at the moment. Keith Lee currently in P10, but he's got a little bit of ways to go to catch up to Dimitri, about 7 seconds. Or I'm sorry, yeah, about 7 seconds there actually. But back up at the front, Peter Lee has taken the lead as I was napping on the battle there. So Peter and Dan trading barbs as they head into the boot, and Jake Ashe is going to look on content for now in third, understanding there's still plenty of time to go as we click past 8 minutes in our 35-minute race. A little further back, we've got Rich Butler looking forward at Ian. Ian starting on the pole, going off track early, just some cold tires, I believe. Ian's starting to put a little bit of space, but you can see that bent wing. That's going to give him just a little bit of trouble moving forward. Coming back up here to lead because this is some fantastic racing going on. We've got, let's look on board with Jake. We do not have his virtual reality view, but we do have a roll bar cam that I think is going to be just as satisfying. We have a three-way battle for the lead. And you can see there just behind Jake. Keep an eye on Pim's gap. So we're going to cross the start-finish line just shy of 2 seconds right now. And we'll see what kind of times he's putting down as Jake eats all the curb in monster truck mode there. We've got lap times I can throw up here. You can see that the top three are going to start putting down some fast times. In fact, Jake setting the purple lap there on lap 4. So really moving and putting him in a real tough spot to try to catch back up. But Peter Lee, Dan Kwiatkowski not satisfied to ride in second. And that's going to allow Jake to just kind of sneak right back up there. The draft and the side-by-side, making them back off and maybe not run the exact line they wanted to. Good stuff so far. I haven't really checked in with Joe. Part of that initial wreck appeared to be a little bit of netcode type issues. I guess we'll leave the ultimate determination up to the stewards, but unfortunate for him, you can see missing nose cone, a little bit of displaced. Needs a little body work, we'll just put it that way. Joe running some laps, just trying to get any sort of position that he can. Currently sitting in P8, and if we go to, again, one of my favorite things here, a lot of times, we'll see if he is catching up to Butler or not. Butler's setting faster times, for the most part, it looks like, so those guys work cut out for him, and we will keep an eye on that gap. Back in with Ian opting not to go into the pits, and that gap now at 6 seconds. Peter Lee is going to set the hot lap for the night with a 2:11.16. Now they will have to pit, and at that point Ian will be able to use his fast repair, but I think his math in his head right now is that he's not losing enough time to make it worthwhile to stop so early that he'll have to pit again, obviously. So he's happy to be out there running P6 and try to start eating into that lead. Joe Zubovich, Rich Butler, Keith Lee, all on pit road. This is where we're going to start seeing some pit strategy, as you see Rich Butler there peeling out in that number 48 car. And it looks like Keith Lee may have forgot to uncheck the tire box. That's something that I've done before too, and that hurts every time, let me tell you. And let's check back up with our leaders. Peter Lee now solidly out front. Dan and Jake, Pim's got now just a little over 2 seconds, so hanging in there. doing what he can to make up spots and get back into the top 5 for the evening. And we've got more Taker Spit Road. It looks like Peter Lee, Dan Pagaski, Pim Luth, Ian Worrell all coming in. That's going to leave Jake Ashe out on his lonesome. Actually, well, with Ken Kirkendall, he's going to stay out too. So this is where pit stop strategy is going to come into play. And if Jake, now out there by himself, got nobody in the rearview mirror, got nobody ahead of him, he can start setting some laps. I'm sorry, just sectors, I guess. It won't be quite that long, one would hope. You can see now Peter Lee, Dan Pagaski, Pim Luth all coming off a pit road. And so that's going to be, let's look at gap instead of interval. So this will be 2-year leader Jake Ashe. I'm going to put them at a 28-second deficit. Their pit lane time was all 45 seconds or so. As you see the drivers come down, and we've got a battle here for 7th spot. Thank you. Nice fill. Eric Hellian's going to try to make the move around the outside. That's going to be a popular place to try to pass. The straight right before the bus stop there. He's going to pass cleanly on Rich Butler for 7th position overall. Both of these drivers having pit, the only ones remaining Jake Ashe and Kent Kirkendall. So we'll see what Jake has planned here and if Kent decides that he wants to follow or stay out one more time. And Jake's gonna take it. And Kent going in as well. So that'll be that. Let's keep an eye out there on Peter Lee then. They come down the final turn. You can see Jake, you're going to see Peter Lee come from the bottom of the screen. Nope. Or in pit road, you can obviously hear that. No, there's Jake. We have fun. So Jake's gonna make it out cleanly. Beat the other 2 drivers by 2 seconds on pit lane. 2 seconds total from the entry to pit lane to the exit. And that right there, folks, is the difference right now. Now Jake carries a 1-second lead into the 17th minute of the race. So 1-second lead, keep an eye on that. Daniel Pagaski is going to make the pass on Peter Lee. As we'll check in with him one more time. And this, ladies and gentlemen, the closest racing action we have on the track is battle for P2. Oh. Alright, let me unmute Discord here. Paul, do you have a copy? There we go. Nah, I forgot that it automatically means you. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, good. I thought I'd take the opportunity, seeing as it's after midday, of having a few beers while I watch the thing. So I've just been out to the shop and locked myself out. So sorry about that.
Hey, it happens to the best of us. We got a really great race going on here. Ian had the pole, went off track, and basically abdicated the throne there for a little bit. But this battle for the podium has been really great. Dan and Peter have been pretty much side by side the entire time. Jake, with a fantastic pit stop, was able to take the lead and then some. He's starting to walk away from him, and probably in no small part because of the fantastic battle that Dan and Peter have going on.
Yeah, there's a few packs going on here. I mean, 1, 2, 3, relatively close together. It's not over for any of them for the podium. Then you've got a little pack further down. Yeah, good stuff.
And we did have a couple incidents early, but it does appear that most everybody has fixed their cars with at least the first pit stop and took advantage of the fast repair. Keith Lee had appeared to be the tires unchecked, so he got some fresh Goodyear radials on there, as Robert Longatano makes the pass for P11. He was involved in an earlier incident, and so he's got his work cut out for him to catch up to Phil Eric Kelly in about a little less than 3 seconds now, it looks like.
Yeah, it's certainly a track for early incidents, but I found that if you get 1 or 2 laps under your belt, even if you're running in a pack, you start to understand what the other drivers are going to do, and everyone settles into more of a drafting pattern.
So what we've seen tonight so far, the majority of the passing attempts have been on that long straightaway before the bus stop. Is that what you expect to see later on, or have you seen other things in public races that we?
So yeah, the main straight before the chicane, which is called the inner loop, that's definitely the best passing opportunity. And if you're in front of 2 or 3 cars, you're a sitting duck. Really, there's nothing you can do about it. Also, it's quite a good track to go side by side around quite a lot of it. It does cost you time, but we could expect to see some of that in the last couple of laps. Particularly, there's a tricky uphill tight corner called the chute, which is as you come onto the boot, and it's a third gear corner. But if you don't get it quite right, because it's uphill, you do bleed a lot of speed, and that's very tempting for a car behind to make a pass.
Yeah, the boot gives a lot of people some, at least in the Discord, it seems a lot of opportunities to kind of mess that up, even though generally speaking it's a pretty draft heavy track, and certainly this configuration being different than the one we ran. And there's going to be contact made there. Ken Kirkendall pops wheels. I didn't even see, I wasn't even paying attention. I was looking at something else. Let's see if we can't realize what happened there. It looked like a car was off. Let's see who that was. The 24 of Peter Lee. Let's see if we can have one.
Oh, just an unlucky bit of net code. He was a bit caught out by Peter's lack of speed there.
Peter just, wow, really sent it into the inner loop, as say, lost the nose cone there. And then just a lack of communication there, it looks like. And that's gonna bring Peter Lee out of contention, really. So now it's the Jake Ashe, Dan Pagowski, and Tim Luth show, him getting up there into that final podium spot.
Yeah, that was a tough one for both drivers there. I mean, Peter obviously thought he's got enough speed to cover off the corner, and Kirkendall thought he could just make the gap. So just quite unlucky, really, one of those things.
And bring Peter into pit road for repairs and I imagine a little bit of a top off. And look a little further back here, Dimitri, newcomer to the league. He's got Rich Butler ahead of him.
It's a very good feature having this F2 race for these drivers. Gives them a nice little bit of race experience before the main event. And judging from last week's race and what this one looks like, there's always plenty of racing action going on the track.
There you go, pass the classic passing move there, and into the inner loop. It looks like he's going to pull it off there for P6, putting Rich Butler in P7.
Yeah, you definitely got to drive smart on this track, using the draft to your advantage, and definitely not fight too much coming into the inner loop. We could probably expect to see in the F1 race people going 4 wide and costing each other's lots of time, because once the green light goes, we all get a little bit stubborn, Chris. So but it pays to yield there. So that was Butler being smart. I think Butler, the car behind, he's dropped off a bit there.
Who was that?
Was that Koroblev made the pass on Butler? Was that what we just saw there?
Yeah, on Butler. Yeah.
Butler's dropped back there 1.3 seconds for some reason. Maybe it's a tricky one. Once you get to that chicane, even if you're yielding or you're the car in front, because you're usually always a little bit offline, or you're going a little bit faster or a little bit slower than you expect. It's very hard sometimes to gather the car up as you come to the carousel.
So 2 pit stop race here. Jake did the overcut, what do you want to call it? He stayed out later than everybody else by a lap or 2, but this time he's going to be stopping early and removing himself from the traffic again. It seemed to work out well the first time. So that's going to be the first taker. Ken Kirkendall, Dimitri Koroblev, and Rich Butler are all in now. That's going to leave Dan Pagaski out there up front. Yeah, you can have a good plan going into the race and think, okay, I'm going to be calm. I'm going to take my time. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. But yeah, you end up just as a matter of circumstance going 4 wide there into the inner loop, and suddenly the gloves are off. I don't know what the racing equivalent of that quote is. Everybody has a plan to get hit in the face. But I feel like this is one of those tracks that it is absolutely accurate.
It's one of those things about racing. Speed isn't everything. Keeping a calm head and keeping control of your emotions is quite tricky at times, instead of just getting carried away with the moment, or perhaps taking an opportunity that's a short-term game, but long-term doesn't do your race any good. It's very good mental discipline.
It's an interesting combination of aggressiveness and discipline that you have to have as a driver. It seems like they would be opposed or mutually exclusive, but not always the case.
You got to be calm, and sometimes you've just got to send a message to people, if you know what I mean, and let people know that you're not a pushover. You've got to drive assertively, but not aggressive. Aggressive can be too much sometimes. When you get aggressive, that's when time comes down.
All right, so it looks like our leaders now are going to pit. Dan, Pim, and Ian all in. That's going to leave Jake Ashe as he rounds the final corner. We'll see how far ahead. I do believe he's going to, well, I don't know, actually. Yeah, no, definitely.
It's a very tricky pit entrance on this track when you've got a whole bunch of cars, because that's a very high-speed corner, that last corner. And if you have to scrub up a bit of speed to get to the inside, it can cause issues. But on the other hand, the exit isn't too bad. You've got plenty of visibility as you're coming out of turn 1. Usually the people on turn 1 are nice and wide anyway.
going to put Jake now at a 4-second advantage over the field. And once again, just a superior pit stop in terms of time, nearly 2 to 3 seconds off of what everybody else had. And you can see the results right there. So,
wow, every second counts, doesn't it?
Huge, huge. And that's, I mean, now he's got a little bit of breathing room. He's had pace all night anyway. So this is actually, you know, you want to talk about discipline. This is where we've talked to, I think we may have even had the same conversation last time with Chris involved, but you're out there, you've got nobody in your rear view mirror, and you have nothing ahead of you to chase. So it's all about hitting your marks, maintaining concentration, and the race is yours.
Well, Jake's got the wind in his hair. He's swinging the car around nicely there. And some drivers, I'd be one of those. I actually prefer, I don't know why I race, because I actually like driving with no one near me. So if Jake's in my camp here, he shouldn't have too much of a problem maintaining this lead. And he's got good pace. Pegowski has as well. I've had a couple of races with him in SNS. And he's capable of mixing it up a bit, but this really should be Jake's for the taking here.
And Tim Luth currently bringing it in on the podium, although Ian making up some time. He is now sitting in 4th after having the pole, going off track early. It looks like he is trying to make up that time. We do have right around 5 minutes remaining left in the race, so not too much more time, maybe a couple, 2-3 laps left, depending on when Jake takes the white flag.
Yeah, it's a relatively easy track to drive, but the more you push it, the more chance you've got of clipping a little bit of grass here and there, and then your car's at 90 degrees to the track. So let's hope that Jake keeps his head down here. He doesn't have to. He's losing a bit of time to Pegowski there, but shouldn't matter too much at this stage of the race.
Real quick review of the field here. Ian there in 4th, and Peter Lee, who was mixing it up there early, in P5. Kent Kirkendall just behind him in P6. Eugene Korblev in P7. Up 3 spots. He's our biggest gainer on the evening. Rich Butler in P8, up a spot. And about 4 seconds behind him, Joe Zulovich. You gotta go 21 seconds back to Robert Longatano, who's working his way around turn 1 there. And you can see, also in the frame, Phil Erikelian involved in an early incident as well. And Keith Lee is going to be bringing home P12 at the moment.
Well, I don't think anyone can feel too bad about a bit of an incident on this track. I was in another league race this morning of so-called really good drivers, and a first lap incident wiped out 10 of the field, and I was one of them. So a little dent here and there. It's pretty understandable on this track. The draft is just so strong, which makes it very hard to lose cars when you're ahead of them as well, and you've just got to resign your fact that most races you're going to be in driving with a bunch of people, and that's what makes this track fun. When the racing goes really well, it's really quite exciting. It becomes a bit more of a tactical chess game, more than a driving test of who's got the actual pace. It's more who's got their head screwed on, who's the smarter driver at using the track to their advantage, even if they're not the fastest car.
Yeah, I do like having a mix of those types of tracks in the schedule, because it really, when you think about a season champion, I like that that's a factor in there, is that you're kind of the master of all different types of driving as well, and not just necessarily technically inclined, or even just not necessarily the dominant mental driver. You got to have a little bit of both to make it all the way 12 races and bring home the title.
Yeah, which is why I'm skipping this track again this week, because I don't do very well at this sort of track. For all my fancy talk about keeping a level head. Sometimes my head falls off on tracks like this, so I think I'll just relax and watch the action with you.
It's very easy to say it. It's another thing to get in there and do it for sure.
When you're in the moment and the green light's gone, that's it. It's a different world.
I think we've all seen the red mist before, once or twice.
Absolutely. I think if you don't get the red mist from time to time, I mean, you obviously want to keep it under control, then you lose a bit of edge as well. Sometimes that little bit of fire, tempered fire in your belly can work for you, but it's easy to let it get out of control and burn your house down. And everyone else's house down on track as well, so you don't want to do that.
Well said. Well, this is going to be the final lap that Jake will take the white flag here, is what I mean to say. And Dan Pagowski has kind of run him down a little bit. We've basically cut the lead in half over the past couple laps, but with 1 lap remaining, that's a tough task unless Jake slips up.
Yeah, Jake could be just managing the pace. It's up to him as the leader to set the pace. But if he's not, he's 1 slip away from having Pagowski right back with him.
A little further back, Pim Luth. Been running some laps by himself tonight, but ended up just being consistent and having a good enough pace that it looks like a podium is on tap for him. But Ian Worrell just not quite ready to let that be the case. We'll see if Ian's got anything for him here in the last half a lap. That's gonna have to try something aggressive, but like we talked about, when that happens, it can get a little tough.
Yeah, he swung it through the inner loop nicely there. Worrell. It's surprising how much speed you can actually carry into that chicane, and it's one with many different lines as well. Some people like to go in fast and swing the car around, or some people like to go in a bit slower and get the foot down at the first apex.
As Jake comes down the hill, we got a right and then a left, and then a left and a right, and looks
Sounds
like
so easy.
it's right. Nothing to it. Nothing to it. That turn right there that he's on, that one gets me every time, especially in the faster cars. I cannot keep the pointy end forward there.
Okay, one more corner here. One more corner. Don't hit the wall. Don't hit the wall.
And first time winner in the Skippy Formula 2, Jake Ashe will bring home the gold, as Dan Pagowski will bring home second, and Pim Luth will round out your podium in P3. Ian just out of reach there in P4, though a very brave drive from the back after the early incident. Peter Lee is going to bring home your final top 5 position there. Dmitry Korblev is rounding the last couple turns himself. Looks like he's got P6 in the bag there. Just behind him, Rich Butler. Up 2 spots in P7, and Joe Zubovich is going to make a last lap pass there on Ken Kirkendall. Last turn pass. Holy cow, I don't even know where he came from. That's incredible. Ken Kirkendall is going to bring home 9th, and Robert Longatano is going to, looks like he's going to round out your top 10. You can see Phil Erikellian back there in P11, and Keith Lee in P12.
It's never too late to make a move. That was a nice little move there. Phil's enjoying the pool there in Australia. G'day, Phil.
All right. And that will be it for the Skippy Formula 2 race, and that was a fun one. That was a really nice appetizer. And let's look at the final results here one last time, if I can. Maybe. Or not. There we go. Nope. Yeah, there we go. All right. Congratulations once again to Jake Ashe. He climbed 3 spots to get that win, so no small feat there. Had a great battle with Dan and Peter Lee. Pim Luth plotting his way to the final podium spot, and we already scrolled through everybody. Walter Collada obviously just joined as the admin there, so congratulations to him for that. But otherwise, I think we're going to take just a little bit of a break here as we get ready to do the Formula 1 race. Are you going to be? So you're going to be joining me for that race as well? Is that right, Paul?
If that's all right with you, Chris, I'd love to.
I'm honored and flattered. Let's do this, and we'll take a short break as we transition the session and all that. I'll put up the timer as soon as I get a good hack on how much time's left in the practice session. So stay tuned, and we will see everybody in just a few moments.
beats boom, 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 boom. Heart speed goes zoom, 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 zoom. My feet go boom, 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 walking away from you. That's what I'm gonna do. I got the same old shoes with a new attitude. Why would I sing the blues for you? I say, hey, you can't stop me, 'cause my pain, is gasoline. I can't wait, but nobody, if you break my heart, is 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom. My feet go boom, 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 boom. My heart beats boom, 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 boom. Heart speed goes zoom, 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 zoom. My feet go boom, 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 walking away from you. That's what I'm gonna do. I got a new tattoo, don't know what to tell you. Got nothing left to prove to you. I say, hey, you can't stop me, 'cause my pain, is gasoline. I can't wait, but nobody, if you break my heart, is 1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, hold on. I'm going, 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 going. There's a big storm. It's coming, 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 coming. Hold on. I'm going, 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 going. There's a big storm. It's coming, 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 coming. Coming, 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 coming. Coming, 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 coming. Boom, boom, boom. My feet go boom, 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 boom. My heart beats boom, 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 boom. Heart speed goes zoom, 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 zoom. My feet go boom, 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 walking away from you.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Once again, we are at Watkins, Glen, not Suzuka. We caught that a little late, unfortunately, and we'll fix that on post. But it's a little bit foggier day today with that auto-generated weather, so we'll see how that works out. Our blimp is still airborne, although very difficult to see, and we are getting ready to go here as we click down the minutes left on our lone qualifying session as the drivers trying to set down their hot laps for the race. Joining me in the booth right now is Paul Beatty. How are you doing tonight, Paul?
Yeah, looking better than the weather conditions here. It's a bit sort of murky, isn't it?
It is.
Bushfires in Florida this time of year.
And everybody can blame me for that. It was my first shot trying to set up the session. I thought I did as I was instructed, but yeah. Well, there you go. I'm excited for the Fog Bowl of 2021, getting the year started off right at Sunday Night Skippy.
Well, you don't want the drivers being able to see too far up the track. Makes it easy for them, doesn't it? You know, these are all good drivers. They can handle it.
Oh boy, what are you gonna do? Well, we've got about 6 minutes remaining, and actually, now that I'm thinking about that, give us some sense on if for those of you who weren't listening to the SF2 race earlier, just kind of your overall thoughts on the track. We do have a little bit of a different thing we're doing tonight. I'm going to be giving the drivers briefing to both the drivers and us, and I got to go look at what I got to say. So I'd love to hear your thoughts in the meantime on just Watkins Glen and this configuration and kind of what the viewers are in store for tonight.
Yeah, it's a fun track that gives really close racing. That's the upside. The downside is it is one for off track. There's not a lot of technical bits and bobs to separate drivers. The main passing opportunity is up the main straight towards the inner loop, which is that weird chicane. And drivers can use that draft to their advantage, but when drivers get a bit stubborn, as we all do, you can lose time, and you can end up with cars trying to squash four cars wide into a chicane. You can easily get 2 cars side by side, but 4 isn't going to go. So I'd expect to see lots of drafting up that track, and at least for the first few laps until maybe some sort of I don't know, pecking order is sorted out,
Week 4 at Watkins,
after which
Glen.
people will
We have
naturally fit into a pattern. But those first few laps can be very testing on track. Some of the corners are really challenging coming up into the boot. You've got the chute, which is as most corners are on this track, fairly straightforward, but it's an uphill fast corner. You've got to apex it early in 3rd gear. If you don't quite get the speed or apex right, you'll lose a few tenths, and it's very tempting for the car behind. It puts them in a position where, do I try and make a pass here, which is very difficult because there's a few turns after it, or do I just sit back and swallow it? So it is a track where you can get a lot of side-by-side. There's a lot of close racing going up the straight. It could be the best race we've ever seen, or it could be a complete disaster. That's the fun thing about Watkins Glen.
Oh, I had my mic muted there. Very good. It sounds like Walter took over there. So, yeah, Walter, if you're watching this, apologies for that. The lost the. We'll get that sorted out with me doing the driver's briefing. That was something new we were going to try tonight, but just didn't quite work out. As we look through the grid here, I just want to congratulate Pete Morbron on the pole position, and Edwin Viorino will be starting next to him on the front row. And you saw the rest of the starters there. We've got a total of 42 drivers that'll be gridding tonight for the Skippy Formula One race, and that promises to, that's about 4 times as many as we saw in the Skippy Formula 2 race. So a little different dynamic to this one, as traffic and that draft's going to be even more strong. And like you were saying earlier, you know, that tendency to really, if the opportunity presents itself to gain a position here or there, that could happen to a couple people all at the same time, going 4 wide down that drafty back stretch. So looking forward to see how that all works out. We've got a Scott Bell fan in the house, and I do believe that we have, Scott and Pete Morbron will be riding alongside, or riding on board with, in addition to Peter Lee.
Yeah, and even though some of us, including me, complain about these sorts of draft tracks, it's usually the good drivers come to the fore anyway. So it's just more of a struggle, I guess, and you've got to earn your stripes a bit more on this course. So whoever takes out this race can really give themselves a big pat on the back, I think, and Pete's giving himself a great chance on pole there.
We will see how long he can hold on to that. Always a tall order when you've got guys like Edwin, Paul Bachler, Jeffrey Decker, Connor Tolman, Jason Bice, Carl Dronke. I mean, that's just, J.R. Hoops, Jack Moffitt. I mean, this is like the top 10 there. Very fast, very competitive drivers who can take advantage and strike at any time. So Pete's is going to have his hands full, but if there's anybody who can, focus forward and do what he has to do and put his car in a defensive position, that would be Pete.
Now, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, where's Carl on the grid tonight? Because I've been watching his streams and I've been really pretty impressed with the way he controls his car in the chicane. He maintains a lot of speed. So when you're out on your own or you're in the draft, that's very important to get that chicane right, the inner loop. Is he in tonight?
He is. He's currently gridding 7th, so he'll be right there in the thick of it.
All right, I'll put an each way bet on Carl.
There you go. That's pretty good. I like that. Not the super obvious pole position pick, kind of middle of the top pack there. I like that.
Oh, really? Look, anyone's got a shot in this race for a podium position or a good top five. You just don't know what's going to happen. I'm quite excited to watch this. Actually, it's going to be really cool to see, how these drivers manage the traffic with each other. Because once you've got your foot down on that straight, it is so, we're racers. You don't want to lift, but you have to lift sometimes. So it's using that lift and deciding when you've got enough momentum to make a move stick, and when it makes sense, or when it's better to lift and just slot behind a few guys and just feel them out a bit. It's going to be a great race, this one.
Well, looks like the briefing is over, and I cannot get a real great look here at the field. Very zoomed in there. Snail racing there with Pete Broughton. This is going to be... This is your blimp view right here, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't know that we're going to be using that all too much today. I think we're going to have to be down in the action.
Yeah, it looks like my TV's broke. Oh, that's better.
Do not adjust your television dials.
Hey, it doesn't matter if you've made a bit of a mistake on them, because everyone's got the same track conditions. That's the good thing about iRacing. It's not the same race all the time. You feel a little difference in the track, a little difference in the braking points here and there, depending on the temperature or whether there's cloud in the sky. So it should be interesting.
And Barney waves the green flag. The lights are out. 42 Skippy Formula 2000s head down into turn 1.
Okay, let's hope we all get round turn 1. If we get past the chicane first lap, nice and cleanly, we're in for a cracking race here.
Oh, somebody's around. Looks like Steve Dewar potentially. I'm trying to see, maybe. I can't tell. He's got a very Carter Stickney. That's who it was. Very similar paint scheme there. Trying to pick it out. Max Giacomo is also falling fast, although this just looks like normal racing and losing positions. And right away, Edwin Viorino is going to take the lead away from Pete Broughton.
Yeah, there's a lot of side-by-side in the S's there, which is the slow way to go up there, but who's going to lift? Who's going to lift if you're side-by-side? You're thinking the other guy should lift here. What are they doing? But I'm not lifting. So, they seem to have got their act together as they get past the bus stop there. This is great racing by everyone.
Looks like Sean Trediak, Don Parks have crashed. We may have to go back and check that out in a little bit later, although we've got a lot of cars pit road now. Trediak, Parks, Worrell, Giacomo, Steve Dewar. Does look like we had a larger incident there, although that still leaves 35 skippies out on the track.
I mean, everyone's got a chance here. You got. I mean, when you got a driver like Chris Herrera in P19, so
Yeah.
There's a lot happening here. Look at Dockery up in P9. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of racing left to go here. Let's just put it that way. We've got a
And we've got two pit stops tonight. Is that right, Chris?
That is my understanding. We'll have 2 pit stops tonight.
Very interesting because it is a draft track. You probably I wouldn't be surprised to see Edwin maybe if this pack of 3 starts breaking away a bit, he might be happy, or one of these drivers is going to be quite happy slotting into 3rd for a few laps, I would say, and let the front 2 battle it out and use more fuel.
Oh boy, we've got so much racing going on here. This is one of those good problems to have. We talk about it nearly every week, but it's just so tough. You can see Chris, well, I don't know, you can kind of see. I got to get a A little closer camera angle here. Chris Herrera, you mentioned back there in P19, and he's battling. He is battling. This isn't, you know, our defending champ is sitting back there, not necessarily just leapfrogging his way through the field like you would necessarily expect. So. All right, while things are settled down here just a little bit, let's try to go back and see what may have happened. The 186 of Sean Trediak. Oh yeah, something was going on in front of him well beforehand. Looks like that's Steve Dewar. Wow, yeah, that was a massive pile up there. That was still, looks like Steve tried to get out of the way, and in doing so, ended up coming back across the track, collecting down Parks. Let's try one more look at this. That Nikolai Wood, maybe? No. Though I am getting word that he has also crashed. This may have been just a little bit earlier. Yeah, he was able to save it and maintain there. Peter Nodwell, maybe? There we go. Peter Nodwell trying to save it and just ends up, unfortunately, collecting quite a few drivers in the process there. And I think that's enough looks at that. So let's go back live.
Yeah, that's the curse of a close racing track and a close racing car like a Skippy. It's it can all go horribly wrong sometimes.
Do not mind the timing tower. It does seem to think that Peter Nodwell, who's involved in that incident there, is in first. I think that has to do with the pit stop there. So no worries.
Now there's a bit of a gap there to Mike Bowers there in P9, but if him and Dockery and Hoops keep it calm, that 2.5 second gap can disappear quite quickly with this draft if they use it wisely. We've got another train from Brandon down, down to Joshua Fidge, my boy, my Australian protege.
Yeah, Steve Dewar photos jumped into the pits. I think Steve Dewar may have crashed again. And Walter Collada crashed. Jeremy Grandin crashed, so I guess just real quick, let's see. May have happened there, riding all on board here with Jeremy Grandin. Hello, Nutmegger. And that's going to be the collection there. Walter Collada on the 00.
Yeah, Jeremy almost hung on to it, but just past the point of no return there, unfortunately for him.
And that just looks like Steve cooking it. Nothing to see there. All right. Back with it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's check in. We got our Scott Bell in a pretty good battle here, and we do happen to have his stream, so let's go ahead and bring that up. You can see his view without the fog as he looks to the outside. And just behind them, your boy, Joshua, gonna follow him along past Aaron Law. Getting a little squirrely, but they make it work. Chris Herrera just kind of waiting in the wings there. Nice little pass there by Scott Bell. And we'll test out our video equipment one more time there on Pete LeBron. That's his stream that he's putting out there. Currently sitting in second, Edwin Viorino making the pass. They've got 1.7 seconds on Jason Bice on the podium spot. Of course, dark horse, Carl Dronke, then right behind him.
Yeah, Bice and Dronky there's a little bit of a gap now, so I don't know if there's been a little bit of a wobble here, or maybe there's been a bit of fighting when they shouldn't be, but if they're not careful, Edwin and Peter are going to run away with this one. That train of cars from Bice down to Moffat, that's where the pressure really starts, because obviously you want to catch the leaders, but if you're saying in P8, you don't want to be at P8 forever. So when do you make your move? That's the conundrum in racing. You want to catch the people in front, but at some point you've got to make moves up the train. Looks like a lot of the field are into the 209s there, so they're setting a very good pace early on the track.
Carl cleanly makes the pass for P3.
It's good to see Tolman up in the mix there. He had a bit of a disappointing race last weekend, but he's up back for fighting for P5s or higher this time, so it's good to see him up there again. Paul Buckler again, nice pace from Paul I've seen throughout the week. And Decker, oh my lord, who's gonna fight out for the top 5 out of that lot? I couldn't pick it, man. I couldn't pick it.
Yeah, this is you guys are in for a treat tonight watching these drivers go to battle here. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch. We do have a gruesome foreman back here. To your point, Jonathan Dockery, it looks like he may have dropped just one spot to Mike Bowers, which, I mean, yeah, Mike Bowers, but J.R. Hoops, they're sitting in 11th. This is a great battle for 9th spot here, as these three have kind of worked themselves into a little island, looking forward about 2 seconds up to Jack Moffitt, who we were just looking at.
Just behind that pocket, you've got good time Sammy Bridges in P14, and I was in a race the other night which he took out the wing, and it was a decent enough soft. So the fight between him and Rebello could be an interesting to watch later on as well.
And that's Rebello just behind him, and Joshua Fitz-Johnson and Chris Herrera. I mean, this has been going on since the last time we checked in with them, and Joshua not making it easy on Chris, and vice versa.
Oh, making the move into turn 1. Oh, Chris let him go there. Oh, sorry, Joshua let him go. Sometimes it's not the most economical thing to do is making a pass on that run into turn 1. You both lose a bit of speed, and Joshua will probably get him back on the straight anyway. So, but sometimes it's just too tempting. It's very easy to sort of sit here on the couch here, Chris, and just say, I don't make the pass, but I've done it. It's like, I've got to run, I'm going to do it. And it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mainly want to check back up here with the leaders, not only because there's a great battle going on, and let's bring up Pete's view one more time, but I just wanted to show off that I actually was able to reinstall Edwin's proper country. And so apologies to Edwin with I don't know why they defaulted to Argentina, but there you go. We got it fixed for you, buddy. Panama, Viva Edwin, and there is Pete trying to track him down. And I'm sorry, what happened to Carl? Actually, now that we're looking at it, we must have missed something.
Well, he's in the chasing pack, and the chasing pack led by Bice is only 1.3 behind. It's a pack of, 5 cars, 1, 2, 3, 4 cars, 5 maybe, or maybe 6. So they're still all in with a shot there, but Carl has dropped back from the leading 2 and been swallowed up by the chasing pack.
Yeah, look at that. So this is a replay here real quick. You can see Connor and Jason leading the charge. Connor just kind of sucked up right behind him, and Carl's like, yep, all right. Very nice, clean pass there. But, as they say, it ain't over. Right along board here. Carl, yeah, there you go. So he's going to repay the favor there.
Oh, look at this view. Look at this view coming up into the chicane. It's oh, they've got it all in a line before they got there. That's a nice fast way of doing it. They're all quite patient with each other there. That makes for fast. If they keep doing that gap of 1.3 it's coming down a bit already. That will come down.
Another battle back here. Joshua Dancy leading, or I'm sorry, that's Sammy Bridges. Good time, Sammy Bridges. Joshua Dancy and Justin Rebello there chilling out in the back. We checked in with these guys just a little bit earlier, but they're maintaining a pretty good battle here for 14.
Yeah, and that was one thing that Bridges did really good the other night. He managed the draft well. He drove really smart. So Dancy and Rebello are in for a race tonight. They really are. And as I've said before, that's the great thing about this league is you look down the field and everyone gets a race. It's fantastic to see.
Some people we haven't really checked in with yet is just keep your eye on that leaderboard, but here is Nelson Addison looking to the outside in that John Player special there. He and Max Giacomo. I thought that was somebody else. Looks like they're battling there for P34. So, to your point, this is 34th, and people are not giving each other any real quarter. I mean, making everybody work for it. And back here we've got Photos, Groombridge, and Trediak also locked in 3. I do believe I know Photos and Trediak. I saw were involved in early incidents.
Well, we've got some hit takers now. This is interesting there. The lead, a few of the leaders are pitting quite, well, I'd say early, maybe a lap early here. Looks like, they've maybe hung Valerino, El Presidente out to dry perhaps here, and Dronky's caught right up with him as well. Unless something's happened here, but I think the leading 2-pack has probably turned into a leading 8-pack when we get the pits all resolved.
There you go. Yeah. I was trying to look through the field, and they, once again, napping. So there you go. Pete, Jason, Jeffrey. Actually, let's bring up pit stops here. So we can see, yeah, basically everybody. P14 now is Pete leading the leaders who have pit. And you can see them highlighted in green on the track map there. Let's jump forward over to Edwin and Carl.
Now, Pete here might have a super brain and realise that, and I doubt this, but we'll give him some credit. He might have pitted here thinking that he'll come out in clear air, which he has done, but unfortunately he doesn't have a partner to draft with. So long as Carl and Edwin don't fight here, they might get the jump on Pete. But I don't know. Pete has shown himself to be really quite great at managing how he uses his pit stops and fuel management in these races.
There you go, Edwin, Carl, and gang, really, all coming down pit road. Looks like
Here
that's
goes quick on the draw. Who's gonna pull the trigger first? Are they going for full tanks, or are they gonna try and pinch that 0.2 of a second just to get out a little bit earlier? It's so tempting to do, and it can bite you on the backside on the last lap if you get it wrong. But if you get it right, then you gain places. It's a fascinating thing. This is something you don't get in official races that you get in the Sunday night skips. This tension of of following a load of cars into the pits and who's going to pull the trigger first. It's amazing.
Well, there you go. Pete's going to come out 1.5 seconds to the better, and that's going to put Jason and Jeffrey right on Edwin and Carl's gearbox. So now they've got a draft pack of 4 trying to chase down Pete, and Carl pulls out to go get ahead of Edwin there into P2.
I'm gonna suspect that Pete maybe used a little less fuel on that stop there, and I think Tolman there might have filled up as much as possible. So until we see what happens in the second pit stop, we don't really know who's done the wisest thing here. Very interesting.
So there's your pit lane time. So once again, this isn't your time in the pit stall. This is from entering pit road to exiting pit road, and just to give everybody a sense of where everybody was.
Now, Carl had a slow pit stop. It's very unlike him to fill his tank up. Maybe he's been bitten too much by running out of fuel on the last lap here.
Yeah,
you can see the difference there between McBrotten's pit, assuming that they all chuck it into the pit lane at the same speed. Pete has definitely grabbed almost a second on Dronky and Valerino there. Bice is another one that might have taken a half bite of the cherry. Decker, this is going to be interesting. What's Decker done? It was a very quick pit stop.
And so this is the actual time in the pit box there that you can see, and yeah, that's reflected in both times. That's going to be super interesting. Paul Bachler as well, 12 seconds there. That's very, very quick.
Paul Buckler must have fitted a solar panel to his Skippy and see how he ends up later on. Maybe he's trying to harness the smog in the air to fuel his engine here, because I don't know how.
So yeah, definitely some very wildly different pit strategies coming to fruition here. And some great racing though. Holy cow, look at this. Jeffrey Decker's got a front row view to this side-by-side action going on into the interlude. And they will sort it out. These very, a lot of trust between these drivers here. And things happen of course, but you can see just the amount of respect they have and give each other.
I think these drivers are managing it so well going into that chicane. It's as I say, you can get quite easily cars 2x2 in. Well, not easily, but you can get 2x2 in there. But it is much better to get your collective act sorted out before you hit the first turn. And those drivers are doing a great job of it at the moment. Pete is extending his lead here. This is interesting. I wasn't expecting it to happen so early. I think he might short fuel. He might have a bit of a lighter car. We'll see what happens after the second pit stop there. It's an interesting test of patience, this track, because I guess a lot of drivers have a sense of who they think they're faster than and who they think they're slower than on track, and sometimes that might not match reality at all. It's just what's in your head. And if you're behind cars that you think are a little bit slower than you, then it's very tempting to use that pit stop to do the jump. But whether that gets you out there in front of the end is another thing to be seen.
Well, you can see Scott Bell here is missing a rear wing, so we clearly missed something.
Ding Dong Bell has lost his clapper there on the back.
Not ideal for sure, but
it's great looking down the list of the field here, because I'm looking at all these drivers, and I've raced with everyone here in officials as well, and it's like there's no one there I don't want to race with. They're all kind of cool. It's fun.
Hard to pick a favorite for sure.
Yeah.
We've got Jeremy Grandin, Gurkin Demir, and Scott Dawkins going toe to toe. This is your battle for P21. Look at them. Nose to gearbox, wheel to wheel. That's some great racing right there.
Yeah, Pogowski's got a bit of track practice under his belt after a really good showing in the F2 race earlier. So, you know, he's probably feeling quite confident after that result.
And I guess as we get past the halfway mark, in just as good a time as any, I'll put the website back up so everybody can see. We'll check back in with the leaders here. We'll check in with Mike Bowers here, leading a train of 3, Jack Moffitt and Jonathan Dockery. Real quick, that cavoknetwork.com/SNS, cavoknetwork.com/SNS. It's under construction, but you guys can go check it out. There's a live timing. I don't know if the track map's working at the moment, so I apologize for that, but there's a live timing thing, a feed, where if you're watching live, you can kind of see where everybody is and kind of see more data than what we're giving you on the timing tower. So, and then you have access to the standings and scheduling stats and all that. So, you can go check that out. Just want to bring that up real quick.
I'll tell you what, it's worth me going out and getting a couple of beers and getting locked out of my apartment and calling a locksmith, because this is a really great race. It's really exciting.
It's fun. First of all, I'm happy you're here. Second of all, it's kind of weird to think about when we did the charity race last night. It was a dirt oval race for anybody who missed it. I'll try to bring up the website later, but we did the Sunday Night Skippy Winter Challenge for charity. It was the dirt sprint cars at Eldora, which is a dirt oval, and it was a lot of fun to do, but then you went back and watched the broadcast of it, and you realized you missed out on some really fantastic racing that you had no idea was going on. And so it kind of added something completely different to it. It was just a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, well, you know, I get to race all the time, so I'm really enjoying this commentating. I just appreciate you having me here, because this is really fun to go through, and it's something else to try and get a bit better at. So if I keep doing it, I hope I do get better at it, and it becomes a bit more entertaining sometimes. So.
Yeah, well, I haven't done it or mastered it yet, and I've been doing this thing near 10 months
natural.
now, so we're
you're a perfect play-by-play, and I'm the colour. You know, I mean, there you go.
Well, we've got Scott Bell, who passed Chris Herrera once again, so this is shaping up to be a really good battle here. A little further back in the field for, I guess, well, P16 says 15th up there, but you can see Dancy bringing up the rear of that other train.
It's unusual for Chris to be back in this position. The last time I checked on him, he was in a battle with Fidge for P19, so he's advanced up the field a bit, but not an awful amount here. It's if you get stuck in a battle, it's very hard to progress up the field. You know, you're losing time against the people in front and the people behind as well.
Well, a little further back up, if you were watching the timing tower right there, Edwin Virino just set the purple lap for the evening thus far.
2:07. Get out of here, man. That's Edwin Valerino. You know, he was one of the when I was racing skippies, he was one of the first really fast drivers that I started racing with, you know, when I could catch him in the draft, and the guy couldn't be a bigger gentleman on the track, as are all of these, but he was the first, so I kind of got a soft spot for Edwin.
Yeah, he's always been really supportive and awesome to us. Yeah, so
there's plenty of fast guys out there that are not nice to race with, but Edwin's certainly not one of them. As are look at the top 10 really. I mean, they're all great to race with. Real good, having fun on track. You can it makes it so much more enjoyable when you can trust the other car, that even if you know they're faster than you, they're not going to do something dumb on you. That you can really race them. You can relax, and when you relax, you just drive better.
Yeah, there's that. I think we've talked about it before. That there's some negatives, but mainly just a lot of positives to league racing, where you do kind of over time form that camaraderie, and there's that accountability where you know you're going to be racing these same people next week. So, you know, it doesn't really make sense to burn any bridges, and not that, yeah, I guess it's just the thing is like when you form a more of a community atmosphere to it, then there's just a little more respect and a little more leeway when there are mistakes. So,
For sure.
here.
But the bunch of drivers in here, I've raced a lot of officials against, and really, I mean, everyone makes mistakes from time to time, but they've always been fun guys to race with on track anyway, even before this league. So to get them all in one race is fantastic. And it's good to see Dockery up there in 10th place, and he's got a bit of a sniff of a draft. Oh, there might be a little bit of a battle going in front of him as well. Buckler's pitted. So Dockery's up into P9. He's got a sniff of Moffat's draft. More, instead of buying a clone out of the store, maybe he's just bought a cheap magazine and done the scratch and sniff, but it's close enough to maybe draw him a bit closer.
I love that. That's a great analogy. You can see there, Jack Moffitt making past Mike Bowers. He's going to shuffle in, going through the inner loop there, but just like you said, that's going to bring Jonathan Dockery right into the mix, and there he is. So this is going to be your battle for 7th position. All these drivers, so Dockery up 2, Bowers up 5, Jack is up 2 as well. These guys working their way slowly through the field. I think our biggest, our biggest gainer right now is Gherkin Demir up 19 spots, and he is at the back of a lead pack, so there's potential here using the draft to his advantage to gain even more spots. So that's a really good run for Gherkin, really awesome to see. Not far behind that though, Robert Longatano, who had a little bit of a rough Formula 2 race, up 18 positions into 24th spot right now. Kind of out there on his own to some extent, but he's having a really fantastic run, just being consistent.
Yeah, and Robert does a fine job hosting one of the practice sessions we have, and he's just, look at him just swinging the car around there like a pro. Good on him. Nice driving there, Robert. Now, Peter's getting caught by the marauding hordes here. Oh, Mabrotten's in the pit. There we go.
Here we
Pull
go.
the trick.
So Jason Bice is going to be your leader, and
before Pete pulled into the pits there, the pack was about 1.2, 1.3 behind. So be great to see where this all fans out. I'm suspecting Pete might have to take a slightly longer pit stop that time. I'm not sure. I haven't really done fuel calculations on this, but I don't know if he's done enough there to keep ahead of the chasers when he comes back out and everyone else has put their pit stops in.
well, there you go. Carl Dronke taking the lead, up 6 spots total. Jason Bice, Edwin Biorino, Jeffrey Decker. And then you got another 4 seconds back to Connor Tolman, Mike Bowers, Justin Rebello, J.R. Hoops, Joshua Dancy, and Chris Herrera working his way up to 10th spot. So doing pretty well, but obviously like it's well, here comes Pete. There he is. Let's bring up the gap.
Navigated some traffic there, but that would have maybe slowed him down a little bit. It's hard to say. He might have got a little bit of draft. He might have got a little bit of an advantage there. But we're going to see. We'll probably start seeing everyone else plough into the pits at the end of this lap as well. And where will Pete come out?
Yeah, you can see Pete's got a good 8 seconds on Paul Bachler, who's the next person with 2 stops. Excuse me. Although, there they are together, Bachler and Moffitt, I should say. They're basically right on top of each other there. These are the next 2 guys with 2 stops total. So, pretty good pretty good lead over those folks. However, now we've got Carl and Edwin staying out on their own. Here's Jason Bice, Jeffrey Decker, Connor Tolman, Bowers, Rebello, Hoops. So basically
Staying
everybody
out.
else.
What's going on here? This is just crazy stuff now, isn't it? Oh, everyone else is ploughing in. Oh, it could be possible that Carl and Edwin have saved a bit in the draft there somewhere, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
So you can see Carl and then Edwin just trying to what he can to get the draft off of Ian. Ian's gonna shuffle back and let them go through. This is gonna be quite intense. We got 34 minutes into the race now, or just nearly 34 minutes into the race, so still quite a few laps remaining, and all sorts of different fuel strategies coming out here. I think Pete has proven himself quite adept at not only just the strategy, but execution of that. So we will see, though. I don't know. It's tough to tell. It's really tough to tell. He hasn't gained anything on Carl right now. He's still sitting at about 30 seconds, which is right around where he was when he came out.
Well, from what I recall of the race at Mount Panorama, when I was chasing Edwin and Carl down for most of the race, they made zero mistakes and their pit stops were absolutely flawless, absolutely perfect. So we've got three drivers up there who just don't make mistakes. It's so hard. You know, you're trying to look for a 10th here, or you're following a car, you're looking for an opportunity, but when they don't have a wobble, they don't make a mistake, it's disheartening. And then when you've got drivers like Jeffrey Double Decker and Jason Bice, or Jeffrey Decker and Bice chasing you down, and you can see that pointy nose in your rear view mirror, it's going to be a good climax to this one.
Well, here you go. Edwin, Carl coming down pit road for their final pit stop.
Well, they made the lap, so they're home and hosed to finish the race.
And you're not going to see much here, but you can see Pete Mulbron there coming around the final turn. He's crossed the start-finish line, and there he goes as Carl and Edwin come off pit road. He's going to have got to change the camera there. Jason's on Pete, and that's going to leave Edwin and Carl with not enough time. They're right there in that draft zone. So all different types of strategies, and they all come out together. It looks like the top 5 is going to be
top 5. Can't pick it. Might as well just pick a number out the hat at this stage for who's going to end up on the podium and who's going to win this race. And then look at the pack from Moffat down to really Dockery. Another chasing pack there, and then you've got Rebello down to Dancy. There's these little and then you've got, oh my lord, you've got your Bell down to Torbeck. There's these great big clusters of cars. Everyone's having a really good race here. They're really good driving by everyone. It's really good to watch this. And you got Kalata down to Bogowski.
Look at that. That's going to be Nikolai Wood trying to make the move on the outside on Walter there as we talk about it. So it looks like everybody's made their 2 stops for the most part. And this is what it's going to be. We've got just past 37 minutes into a 45-minute race. And the battle remains top 5.
4 laps to go, is it? Or they get a 5th? Well, probably 4, isn't it? So now that these drivers at the leads of each of their packs, whether it's Dronky or whether it's Mike Bowers or whether it's who we've got Doug Metzel, got Ding Dong Bell, and we've got Grandin and we've got Kalata, they'll all be thinking about where do I want to be when we get to the last couple of laps. They're at the head of their packs now, but you probably don't want to quite be at the head of your pack coming onto the last lap. So there's going to be a lot of shuffling going along.
That's a great point. So pit stops have been made, and people are kind of where they are. And as Edwin takes the lead there. So yeah, folks, this is the end game here, and you got to start thinking about your positioning, especially this front five. I mean, we do have packs of 2 and 3. It's a little easier to strategize that, not much, but holy cow! I mean, I'm looking here at Jeffrey Decker. What's he thinking exactly? As he's looking forward at the top 4, he's got the podium literally in his sight. He's feet away from the podium, but how do you actually execute on that when you've got a guy like, or I guess guys like Pete, Jason, Carl, and Edwin ahead of you?
Yeah, I think you really like if you're in a pack. I found a good position to be is third, because if you're in third place, you get a decent draft from the 2 cars in front, which kind of prevents you from being overtaken too much. If you're much further back there, it's harder to make up those positions. If you're in third, then you've got a real shot of maybe taking out a win here. But I mean, he's got McBrotton and Jason Bice in front of him, and they're not going to just say come on through, Sailor, are they? So it's
Well, to your point here, we got Mike Bowers leading the pack. We'll try to do our best to work through the field. So Mike, Paul, Jonathan, and is that Doug? They're at the end. No, Jonathan. Yeah, okay. Mike, Paul, and Jonathan make that group of 3.
You've got about 5 great races out here happening on track, each with multiple cars in each pack. So every driver's out there having fun. That's the main thing, Even when I'm racing on a track that I'm not very sort of down where I usually am, there's always fun to be had, and the adrenaline's going. You're trying to think tactically, but on the other hand, sometimes you get a gift. You get that extra bit of draft, you get that extra 2 mile an hour, and sometimes it's too good to pass up on. But it makes sense to pass up on it sometimes. Oh, here we go. Look at the top lot are sorting themselves out here. Oh, we've got Dronky, Valerino, McBrotton, Decker, Bice. Wow. Now, I'll tell you what, out of that lot, just behind, Tolman is in a nice little position here. It's P6, but he's pretty safe of a P6, which is a really good result in this field.
Yeah, nothing to sneeze at for sure. We've got, I don't know what happened there, but Carl's worked himself into quite a little gap there.
Yeah, that's not a gap. That's not a gap.
You call that a gap?
No. You call that a gap. We're going to need a bigger gap than that. Look at it. There it goes there, down 0.9, 0.8. There we go.
So Jason Bice actually falling off the draft there, though. That's tough. I'm getting word here. Oh, boy, we've got all sorts of stuff. Chris Herrera crashing, Kent Kirkendall crashing, R. Scott Bell crashing as well. We'll try to go back and see that after the race, but I just want to make sure that we focus in on here on the action that's happening live. Carl, to your point, just trying to hold on best he can. Let's see if Jason can wiggle his way back up there. He's still just kind of just outside the drafting zone there. I don't know if maybe he was worried about fuel.
And unfortunately for Jason, Decker's in the draft, so that might just pull away from him. But it kind of assures Jason of a P5 in some ways. And in these closing laps, this is where the pressure really builds on a driver, because you've spent you spent over 40 minutes trying to gauge it, being a bit careful, being a bit of a gentleman, but then when it comes to the last 2 laps, you'd want to jostle for position. So instead of getting the line sorted out single file before you get into the chicane, that's when you start going side by side. Here we go. Look at this. Oh man. See the P3 and P4, they didn't quite get it sorted out, but the draft is very forgiving here, so they'll catch that back up, no problem. But that temptation to stake your claim and not yield gets much, much greater as the race comes to its climax. We can expect to see some side-by-side happening on the rest of the track here as well. It is a very good track for racing side-by-side through corners. There's plenty of width on the track. You can give cars lots of space. You can also carry momentum whether you're on the inside or outside, and the combination of left and rights means that if you're on the inside of one corner, you're going to be on the outside of next corner. So, yeah, this is going to be a great finish.
So I've changed it back to interval. You can see just exactly throughout the field, at least the top 29 there is showing on the timing tower right now. Just exactly how close some of these battles are. And this will be the white flag lap as Edwin's going to come take the white flag. So there you go. Edwin's in the lead. Carl, we've got Jeffrey and Pete just behind them. Whew.
Yeah, don't rule out Decker and Mabrotten here. They're a second off the front too, but that will be 0.4 by the time they get to the chicane. And then if Valerino and Dronky go side by side, then they're right up there with them.
There you go. And then Pete's going to take it side by side as well. Oh, and we got a slow car on the track. That is going to split that. I don't think they were counting on that.
That has changed the dynamics somewhat.
Yikes. So Edwin now back out front. That's Carl in second, Pete, and then Jeffrey Decker still hanging on to the tail end of that train. Fourth. And here we go. It's going to be very few passing opportunities left, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, Carl going all the way back to fourth. Holy cow. Edwin up to first with Pete now stalking him. We're riding along board through Pete's VR headset there. That's the view that you're seeing in the bottom right of your screen. But it does not look like there's just going to be enough time.
Two fast turns coming up here. Looks like El Presidente Valerino is going to take this one out. What a race. What a race.
Congratulations to those guys. Let's look a little further back here. Mike Bowers, Jonathan Dockery, Paul Bachler having a great race to the line. Oh, and Jonathan's going to send it just a little bit there. There's Justin Rebello going off track, trying to keep JR Hoops off of him. And Joshua Dancy's going to look to the inside. And I don't even know. I can't see through the fog. I don't know where they finished that. Jeff Torbeck, Chris Herrera, Jeremy Grandin, 3x3. They're going to get squeezed. Jeremy. And Jeff goes around.
He's got this one. Oh, my Lord. Oh. He was the meat in the sandwich there. Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Oh.
You know, and if it means getting a place on that last lap, it's probably worth smacking the wall a bit like Dockery did there, just to carry a bit more speed. It's surprising how resilient the Skippy can be.
Well, as you can imagine, frustrations are flying. Here's at least Scott's got his rear wing back, but probably not the night he was anticipating. He does have Kent Kirkendall on his back and his rear bumper there, or I guess gearbox. But we'll see just about right where he started. I really like that motion rig that Scott's got. That is Got me very envious. My wife told me not to get any ideas though, so.
Yeah, I got one, but most of the time I leave it switched off because it makes me slower. So
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the Sunday night Skippy tradition of the pile-on at the end. All right. I think that's most everybody. Let's see. The race has not gone officially yet, though. Who's still out there? Nobody. All right. Well, holy cow. We have so much to unpack. I don't even remember what happened. I feel like I blacked out there, but congratulations to... Wait a second. That's not right. That's the qualifying result. Yep, I don't think we're finally out. There we go. Nope, that's not right. What is my overlay doing? You can do it. Nope. How about now? Hey, there we go. Edwin Viarino, congratulations on the win. Fantastic. Great racing. Pimo Braun and Jeffrey Decker. Jeffrey Decker taking home the final podium spot. I'm sure he's stoked about that finish. Carl Dronke, not exactly sure what happened there, but he'll come home in fourth. And, yep, you can see that Jason Bice, Connor Tolman, Jack Moffitt, Mike Bowers, and Jonathan Dockery coming home P9. Awesome to see. Paul Bachler will round out your top 10. Another, well, a great finish by Doug Metzel as well, up 4 spots. I think our biggest mover tonight was still Gherkin Demir finishing P20, I believe. Let's scroll through here. There you go, P20.
thanks, Carl. My each way bet on you just didn't pay off again. You finished fourth. What a race, though! What a race! That was so much fun.
I know I feel like we could spend hours going through the replays of everything that we missed, and we saw so much. So, whew. All right, let's see if we've got anybody in the... Oh, yeah, do we ever? All right. Well, let's remember that I need to unmute everybody first of all. But first of all, let's start with Jonathan Dockery, who had a... I mean, we'll see what he says here, but I would say a very fantastic race.
That was fun.
Oh, good. You had a good race.
So much fun. I've had a great week. I don't know why, but Watkins, Glen, and me, this track is by far my best track. And I know I hear it all the time. Draft tracks in the Skippy suck, but even undrafted, I'm quick here. So,
Hey, Jonathan, I liked your style there, just pushing it a little bit and just smacking into the wall in the last corner just to make sure you had the place. That was a good move, man.
No, actually, that's not what happened. So what happened was like, so at the start of the race, I think I qualified top 11. I think I'm not sure exactly where I qualified, but something happened. Turn 9 maybe. It's like you go through the toe and then you do the right and then there's an uphill left, and something happened there and JR got really out wide and I'm not exactly sure what caused it, but we lost the lead pack. So after we pitted, I was with Mike Bowers and Jack Moffitt. So then after we pitted, it was Mike Bowers and Paul Bachler, I think is who we were with. So it's like them two were battling, and I'm sitting back there and I'm like, I'm getting in the top 10. I don't want to wreck. But earlier this week, I ran a 207 in the race with Edwin, actually, and Edwin finished 6th, and I finished 5th in that race. So I was like, I want another 207. So I laid back and I tried, and I was actually tracking for a 207.8. But I pushed too hard through the last turn, and it was like, I've already blown it. I know I'm going to hit the wall, so I just kept my foot in it and hoped I got the spot. But it was a lot of fun. I think that was my only real incident. I off-tracked a few times, but that was a blast.
Awesome, man. I haven't heard this energy out of you. I mean, I'm clearly, recovering from COVID and whatnot too. That's probably got something to do with it. But it's great to hear you just excited about it again. We're watching the replay here of the finish. It looks like you lost the wheel for just a second, but got it back. But that was a lot of fun.
But yeah, like, and me and you, Chris, had talked last season, and it was like, you had commented that I was getting a lot better and quicker. Just with this track, it just clicked, and it was like I've been faster all week. And I actually worked with Sean Tetriak, who we tangled with last season. But me and Sean were talking earlier in the week, and he was like, "Where are you finding your speed?" And I was like, "Well, we'll get together and we'll figure it out." And today he lost a second off his lap time. He went from like a 10.6 to running a 9.6, I think. So it was great.
Nice, nice.
I
Yeah, and
couldn't. I
You know
didn't.
what? You know, Jonathan. Like with this sort of racing, it is a confidence game, and we all go through phases where you just think, "Ah, I've lost my speed. I can't do this." And I understand you are feeling, a bit frustrated. And it's good to see you're enjoying your racing again, man. I can hear the smile in your face.
Oh yeah, and like I don't know what it is about Sunday night skippy tracks, but I always make the comment that they feel slicker than anything I've practiced on, and that was the case again tonight. Like in the practice, I was wrecking the car and could not figure out why. So I went back to how normally I drive with a pound of pressure in the rears because it seems to tighten the car up just a little bit, but it doesn't really cost me any speed when I test with it. That way, even on long runs. So right before qualifying, I put the pound of air back in, qualified well, raced well. It was a blast. I mean, and I didn't hit anybody tonight. So thank God.
awesome, man. Well, hey, congratulations again. It was fun to watch you race. Hopefully, if you watch the broadcast back, we got to watch you do some really close racing. It was a lot of fun to watch. So, really well done. And you have any final shout outs or thoughts before we let you go?
I'd like to thank you all for the broadcast and thank everybody for racing me clean. I look forward to next week.
I did
Very
enjoy
good.
that last little wall smack there, man. That was cool. Cool as.
Oh man, you have like I did it like I said, and I posted it in Discord. I did a 207 earlier in the week, and I knew with the track conditions tonight that I could do one if I timed it right. So it was like, let's try it, and I just got too greedy. I would have had it, but I got greedy, and I'm glad y'all enjoyed the results of that. So,
Nothing
but I'll
wrong with
see
that.
y'all. I will see y'all next week.
All right, sounds good, bud. Take care.
All good.
Jonathan Dockery bringing home a P9. Awesome. Great to hear. Great energy there. So let's bring in, let's see, who's a good person to bring in next? Let's, Connor Tolman, I think, will be our next best guess. And Connor kind of mixing it up back there in the, this was a tough track to, maybe track is not the right word, but just a tough grid. And you ended up just one spot down from where you started. But talk us through what you saw out there tonight.
Uh, I mean, it was a fantastic race for the first couple laps, and it was on track to being a fantastic race for the last laps. But I screwed the pooch on I think lap 8, turn 1, and just oversteered and lost about 2 to 3 seconds on Carl. And then after that, there's just no chance you can catch up because the draft and all that. But still a fun race. Still happy with my finishing position, and happy that it stayed clean.
Hey, sometimes it's nice to end up in that little pocket. I mean, you still placed really well at the end of it, and you didn't really have to fight at the end. You were just on your own, which is kind of cool sometimes.
That is true. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice not having to worry about other people, especially super draft heavy tracks like this. It's just so yeah. Sometimes it's easier to just take sixth and not have to battle than take fourth or fifth and battling hard the whole last half of the race.
Well, it was a lot of fun. To watch you guys all race tonight, and I kind of agree with Paul on this. We both kind of had the mentality that we enjoy racing, but at the same time, I would almost rather just be out there by myself. If I find myself out there on my own, uh, I'm okay with that. I'm good, and it's a tough
Yeah.
one on something like Watkins Glen, for sure. But not be up there mixing it up. But a P6. We always say sixth position on a grid like this. I mean, holy cow, the talent
Yeah.
that's up here, and just being able to run your race. And there was a lot of different pit strategies that kind of came to light as we were going on. It didn't seem like there was one or two. There may have been three or four. Did you? This is something that I ask all the time, only because I'm super fascinated with it. But did anything during the race change your mindset from how you entered the race, or are you just kind of one of those wing it guys?
No, I calculate my fuel strategy on paper before the race, and I stick to that the best I can.
Nice.
Obviously, if something happens during the race, like I have a damaged wing or something like that, I will work around that and try to get into the pits as quickly as possible and get that repaired. But for the most part, again, I just try to stick to that strategy that I put down on paper before the race, because it just makes my life easier, because I don't really trust any of the programs to refuel for me or anything like that. I'd rather know it myself and do it like that. And almost every single time I come out with just over where your car will start sputtering. So I'm pretty happy with how I do my fuel strategy. A lot of people say otherwise and say you should use a program, but each their own.
Yeah, well, it seems to be working out for you. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, is what I would say. In
Yeah.
That's
fact,
right. Yeah, I mean, if you want to do it yourself, do it yourself. That's the way, you know. I'm the same. I use a program, but that's because I'm lazy. If I had the brains that you have to work it out myself on a piece of paper, I'd probably do it that way, because it would be probably more correct or more to your advantage than just trusting some robot to do it for you.
That's how I see it. Except for the smart part, I wouldn't go too far with that.
well, it's working out for you so far. I mean, very strong finishes, and the pit stops have not been the issue. So you're doing something right, and certainly better than I could do. But
Well, I appreciate that.
any final thoughts before we let you go?
Just shout out to my family and friends as usual, and shout out to league stewards, you guys, just for making this league what it is, and yeah, just making it so damn great.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you, and we look forward to. I think it's Mola next week, right?
Yes, Emily. Yeah, I'm excited for that. It's a fun
It's
track.
gonna be a good one.
Great track. It's going to be
Yeah.
fun.
All right, well, guys, I appreciate the interview, and I'll catch you guys later.
We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Bye.
All right, let's bring in podium finisher Jeffrey Decker, who ended up one spot ahead of where he started and had a great race. Was kind of chilling in the back of, and I maybe I'm wrong about this, but I feel like this is not the first or second or third time that I've seen you kind of hang out at the back of a large draft pack, Jeffrey, and just kind of looks like you're just kind of sitting back there waiting, plotting. What was your final thoughts after the second pit stop when you find yourself in a good position there? Where did you hope to place yourself to make a final stab at it?
Yeah, I was trying to just set up for the podium. So I actually did a good job in that. I think I like into the penultimate lap. I was in third place coming towards the end of that lap, but actually my internet cut out, so everyone disappeared. And I was like, okay, don't kill anyone. And I came back and ended up missing my braking point to try to like avoid any chaos. And so I was talking with Pete, and that threw Pete off too. And that killed our draft. So I actually think him and I might have had a good run at P1 had that not happened. But yeah, I was just trying to hang out and see. Really, this is like about the last lap, your position going into the last lap into the chicane on the straight. And if you have a good position there, you have a good chance of winning. So I just tried to set myself up for that. No reason to jockey early, really.
Yeah, being third in a pack on the last lap on this race is a pretty good place to be. You can easily get the first two cars in front of you if they play nicely. So there's a good strategy, spoilt by technology a little bit there, unfortunately for you. But that was a good race, man. Very good to watch.
Yeah, it was good fun. It was nice. I mean, pretty good clean racing all around. I feel bad, I think, on that last lap. Really, I shouldn't have even got the podium. I think Carl really deserved it, but we had kind of a problem exiting the chicane with a back marker. And I think he ended up getting a slowdown trying to avoid contact there. So really, Carl should have been on the podium. But
so it was your fault, because I had an each way bet on Carl there. And, and yet again, that's my kids' college fund gone. Thanks, Jeffrey.
I'm sorry. I owe you a couple bucks then.
Well, hey,
Hey, Hollies cost more than that in Australia, son.
It costs a lot here too.
Well, any final thoughts before we let you go and start practicing for Imola?
I know. I'm just excited to go to Imola. That's the first time I'll do anything there in iRacing, so looking forward to it. I think it'll be a good.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good skippy track.
I like to hear the sound of that you've not driven there before. That gives me a chance against you.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, you always have a chance against me. You're quick all the time. Don't.
No, man.
All right, Jeffrey.
No, it was a
well,
great race.
yeah,
It was
congratulations. Getting a podium
good
in the
job.
Sunday Night Skippy Racing League is no small feat. So it's got to feel real good, really well deserved, really well earned, and hopefully you can keep that momentum going on to next week and in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, guys, and yeah, just as always, thanks so much for the broadcast. It's always great to watch back.
Awesome. That was Jeffrey Decker finishing P3 overall, and a really great race. That was a lot of fun to watch, if I'm being honest. We're going to bring Pete Moore Broughton in next, who ended up finishing P2, had a little bit different pit strategy than everybody else, and it all kind of washed out there at the end with the top 5 going into the last few laps. Pete, tell me what was going through your head there once you kind of realized, okay, this is 5 of us, and we're going for the win.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that wasn't the case. Yeah. I was pretty sure it was going to be the case, based on like the results of Benny Simonson's doing his new league that's attracting all the 4, 5, 6, 7K guys ran earlier today, and some people weren't able to complete the race based on fuel. So when I ended up running by myself for that whole first half, I'm like, I'm gonna lose a second on the second pit stop. There's just no way I can't. So I was watching that relative coming up on the second pit stop. I'm like, they're really close to being within a second, which means I'm going to come out in the middle of a swarm of 5, skippy angry bees, and that's going to be hell. And then I only came out in 3, and I'm like, oh great, I don't see Edwin and Carl. And then 2 full laps later, there's Edwin and Carl. Like, where were you supposed to go? Like, did you get in-flight refueling? I don't understand. So anyway, yeah, it ended up being the 5 that I was worried about, and then it was,
So I noticed there, Pete. I think you correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think you pitted differently to everyone on the first pit stop, which gave you clean air of about 3 seconds in front of you, but no one to sort of dance with, if you know what I mean. Did you think it was worth? What was your thoughts about that? Did you think it was worth just getting the clean air head down and sacrificing maybe being part of a pack that was maybe fighting? Maybe they would slow each other down. What was going through your head there?
Well, I'll say my ideal hope was to come out as a pair with Edwin, because we I think could have played the draft pack game very well and kept our thin margin there. But yeah, I ended up pitting a lap early because after a lot of careful consideration, weighing the pros and cons, I decided it was best not to run out of gas, which was going to happen if I went another lap. It's just because I was running out in clean air so long. That's how much the fuel difference is. That's why I was saying earlier in Simonson's event, where they do a 3 pit stop race, some people didn't finish because the fuel burn is so crazy if you're in clean air and nobody else is.
Well, I lasted about half a lap in Simonson's race this morning, so before pulling the plug on that. So you did a lot better than me this morning. And I mean, just looking at the racing that was going on in this race tonight, it was so much cleaner than it was this morning. It was great to watch, and it was really entertaining watching how the pit strategies were unfolded there. It was a great result for you in the end there, Peter.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it was definitely my favorite race of the week. I did a few officials. I stayed out of trouble. I managed to get a win, a couple of podiums, but I just really did not. I didn't enjoy it. If I'm blunt, driving the track was nice. It's a decent layout, but I did not enjoy the racecraft at all, to the point where I'm like, hey, it's a good week to learn dirt ovals. Right? But this is good. This is enjoyable.
It was good. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean there, because it was really good to watch the way, like the pack of the 5 of you weren't going side by side into the chicane. You kind of felt each other out, but you got it sorted out. So you were single file going into the chicane. So you're all following that lead car. You're all maintaining good speed. And that's something we haven't really had in officials. There's not been enough yielding. So, yeah, it was really fun to watch.
Yeah, there's a lot of good, jostling for that position, and not playing around trying to get the rights to that position and do it safely. Decker pulled a superb move on me, I think, with two to go or so. Got the timing perfectly right. And it's like, you fight, we lose P1, P2, or you let me go and you're stuck with 3 cars ahead of you. Like that kind of play was really good. I really enjoyed the racecraft tonight, which is not something I've been able to say all week. So really enjoying this league. This is
and a lot of you left it to the last minute. I was obviously I was watching because I was commentating, but there would be you'd be like 2 or 3 wide as you're heading into the chicane, but as you hit the first apex, you're all single file. So it's really efficient racing and driving.
Yeah, I figured I was able to efficiently get Jason to dump himself doing the 3 wide,
Nice.
but unfortunately, it looks like he just had a little bit of a slip. So I took premature credit for that mind game, but that's the sort of thing that you see that sort of high level strategy here in this league. It's a great place to play with that sort of thing.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Pete. It was a lot of fun to watch you guys race tonight. I can't overstate it. I as much as I don't like to watch the broadcast back just because hearing my own voice sounds like nails on a chalkboard, but I might put it on mute and watch it again just because it was that much fun to watch you guys. So, any last final thoughts before we let you go?
Just my now traditional plug for Snail Racing. Those guys over there are real similar community to Sunday Night Skippy. A driver development league, takes all comers, a little bit of structure around coaching and that sort of thing. And they're really picking up in some multiple disciplines now. So they're starting to jump into their GT3 league, and I've heard rumblings of starting up some dirt oval lately as well, which I'm pretty excited about. So
league after my own heart.
come over and stick your head in. I think it's a good fit.
Dirty Pete's oval racing.
You got it.
All right, P. Well, fantastic talking with you once again, and good luck next week. Nice job on the P2, and we'll see what you can do at Imola.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
And we have one final interviewee. We've got Jason Bice, who ended up with a P5 finish, was leading the race at one point, and really, just kind of had a great run going. And unfortunately, I still don't know what the heck happened, if I'm being perfectly honest. So
me either.
Tell me what happened so I can at least try to find it on the replays.
Yeah, no, I got totally sketched out as we went, I think 2x2, or maybe even, probably 2x2. Anyway, going into the chicane on what was probably the third to last lap, and I was getting rapid fire messages from my spotter, and I just kind of panicked, so I dumped it into the grass because going into the chicane is not a good place to not know what the situation is. And I knew that I had Pete to my side. I think Edwin was right behind me or right in front of me. Jeffrey Decker was in my vicinity. And it's like, if I go into this not knowing what the situation is, then I'm going to be an issue. So I just dumped it into the grass, and no regrets. That would have been awful. So, very happy with the P5. So
yeah, I was gonna say any day you can dump it in the grass and walk away with a P5 in Sunday Night Skippy is a very good day.
Yeah, I was very, very fortunate. So
awesome. Well,
it's good to know that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Paul.
It's good to know that under pressure you dump it in the grass. I'll put that in the memory bank there, Jason. But I was just saying to Peter, it's really impressive the way you guys were racing, because a lot of officials this week have been 2x2 in the chicane, which you can do, but it's slow. And you guys all managed to kind of make the right decision on when to go for it and when to yield. And it's kind of, you all had an understanding of the order of going into the chicane. So by the time you got to the first apex, you were all single file and you're all going nice and quickly. Was that something that you were bearing in your mind as you were heading into that bus stop?
Oh, absolutely. I can't speak for Carl and Edwin, but at one point, at least I was doing everything I could to catch back up to Pete. And yeah, it was all about cooperation and getting things sorted before we had to turn in to that chicane. And that's the only way we're able to catch up to him. We all three had to work quite fluidly together to make that happen. So yeah.
It's amazing how that happens, though. But when you get a good race like you had today, is that because you're going up that straight, you've got a hell of a draft. Sometimes you think, oh man, I've got to run here. I've got an extra 5Ks on these people, but you've got to make the decision at some point: is it worth it or not? And you guys just did it perfectly today. It was really good racing to watch.
Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that. And I think that's one of the things that sets league racing apart from the pubs. You know, there's a lot of can't lift syndrome in the pubs,
Yep.
and a lot of times it is much more productive to just lift, tuck in, and ride it out. And it's also one of the benefits of the longer races that we're able to run. So you don't have to get things done right now. You've got 45 minutes and 2 pit stops to figure things out.
You say that, but it comes to the last 2 laps and it gets tempting, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. Well, yeah, then the gloves come off and and it's on. And it's kind of funny too because that's going through your head, especially after your second pit stop. You're looking at the laps and the timer, and you're like, "All right, it's about to crack off." And sure
Yeah, here
enough,
we
it
go.
does. It's quite predictable, but it's a blast. That's what makes it so good.
Awesome.
But it's going to be. I'm looking forward to next week. So if I'm following you, I just know, bit of pressure, and Jason will just go off into the sand.
Well, hey,
it was a really fun race to watch and commentate on, man. It was so good watching you guys just race nice and cleanly and sensibly as well. And it wasn't just the leading pack; there were several packs all the way down. That you could see
Good.
everyone was having a really good race.
Yeah, it's Watkins. I go in and out of phases where I've got the track figured out. But one thing that's always very enjoyable is when you do have that respect on the track. It's a very, very fun track to race. It's not
Exactly.
it's not on the technical side, and you can really focus on the racecraft and the little the mind games and the 4D chess. It's fun. We can
Definitely
focus
a
on
test
that
game.
instantly. Yeah.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens when we get a few technical bits next week. But I mean, it was a joy to watch. That's how Skippy racing should be done. You lot did such a good job, really good job. It's almost tempting to get back in the car, but I'm having fun calling races when the racing's so good to see.
Yeah, I definitely hope to see you back out there. But it's been fun, hearing you in the broadcast booth. So
I got a bit of PTSD again this week from Watkins, Glen. So
I've heard.
especially after this morning's Simonson's race, I thought, nah, I'm not doing this. I think I'll just sit back and watch you guys have fun out there.
Oh no.
Well, this is obviously superior, so
Absolutely, in every way.
Take that for what it's worth. Well, hey Jason, thanks for joining us. Any last thoughts before we let you go?
Nope.
Excellent.
Had a great time, and thanks to everybody for a great race.
Yeah, congratulations on the P5, man. It's like we said before, it's a hell of a run, and bad luck, but it's still a heck of a finish, and should give you some good momentum going into Imola, which is by all accounts a great track. So.
Oh, for sure, no regrets.
No regrets.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was Jason Bice, and we have probably for the first time in a long time, if ever. I don't even.
Dente Viva Valerino.
Hello. Thank you, Niall.
So
what a race, Edwin, man. That was a great race to watch. You did so well. Congratulations on your win there.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. Say hello to Ian, to Chris, and you, my friend Paul from Australia.
So
Edwin, sorry, Chris.
No, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So Edwin, I was watching you as I was watching everyone in that race, and your pit stop strategy. How did you approach that? When did you know when to pit? When did you know when not to pit? Talk us through the pit stops for you, because that seemed to work really well for you.
I always use the JRT to calculate the fuel. Always, all time. When I have fuel for enter, I enter in the pits and refuel.
There you go. That's easy. Why am
Yes,
I
it's
not
too
doing
easy. It's
that?
too easy. I have a rule. If pit enter in the pits, I don't enter. I enter 2 laps after or 1 lap after. I
Interesting.
never use the same strategy. The pit.
Well, that's good. It keeps everybody on their
Yeah.
toes. That's you
Yes.
had a really good. So we were talking about this with Decker and Mabrotten. After the pit stops, all that. After the second pit stop, you had a group of 5 going into the last
Yes.
couple laps. So
Yes.
what were you thinking about? Where did you want to be? And what was your strategy going into those last couple laps, knowing that it was just the 5 of you?
Yeah. In this track, it's important stay in the first or second position. Never in third position or fourth position. I try all time is first or second position.
Interesting.
Yes, because this track has too much draft and the brake zone is too difficult when you have overspeed. I prefer first or second place in this situation.
That's why you always beat me, because I think third place is good. So I've learned something. I should go for second.
No. I need a congratulation for Jeffrey. He make a really, really strong race. And the Jonathan for the top 10. Really, really good race for both. And Pete, all time Pete have a strong pace. It's really, really fast. And so sad for Carl because he can won the race. He can won this race, but have the incident in the chicane. But maybe Carl won this race.
Yeah, that's
I
tough.
thought you had a chance there, because at the first pit stop, I think Pete pitted early, and it was you and Carl out in front. I thought you two could have pulled more ahead, but you didn't. You didn't clear the pack of other 3 people behind you. Were you thinking, if I stay out, we'll create a gap?
Yes, it's for create gap. For try to create gap, but it's impossible with Pete. It's really, really fast.
Too fast, man.
It's impossible. I push like a crazy these 2 laps, but push like a crazy and impossible. Pete is really, 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 really fast. My respect for him.
Well, you pulled off the victory, and we've been saying this all night, but doing that in this league now, that is very difficult to do. We've got a lot of fast drivers up there, and a win is no longer guaranteed, much less a podium, or even a top 5. So it was great to see you back up there in the top spot, and really strong season going. What are your thoughts on Imola? Is Imola one of your better tracks, or are you not as good there?
I like this track, but I very bad in this track. I'm so slow here, but I like a lot this track. It's
Nice.
too tricky track, but it's difficult.
Oh, good.
It's difficult.
I
I
never
hope
would've-
see Paul the next week in this track.
I will be racing next week. I love Imola. I love it. It's a great track.
Good.
All right, Edwin. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us. It was great to have you and interview you, and I hope we have you back here shortly. spread the wealth a little bit and maybe let some other guys win. But it was great to see you back in victory lane, and congratulations. Do you have anything else you want to say before we let you go?
Sorry, I don't understand the last.
Oh,
Say,
yeah, and we're gonna let you go. Do you have anybody you want to say hi to, or any
yes,
other
for
thoughts?
the all races in this league, really really clean and really really fast, and all people, all races. Sorry, uh, go to best drive like let me see the name. Tolman, Connor is very 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 good. Jason, Mike, really really fast and clean people. Congratulations for him.
And
Awesome.
Edwin, congratulations on your second place next week behind me.
Okay, thank you very much, my friend. Thank you very much.
All right, Viva Edwin. We'll
Yeah,
see you.
great
We'll see
news,
you
great
around.
news.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Paul. You are really, really great job in the stream. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edwin.
Bye bye.
Edwin
Guys,
Virino.
Oh,
I really like that
I'm
guy.
so glad. I'm so glad he came in for an interview because he was worried about his English, but his English is fine. He won, so he should be in here.
Exactly. And yeah, we'll work around that. I really just need to work on my Spanish is what really needs to happen. And apparently we got people all over the world here. I apparently need to work on all sorts of languages, but I can't even speak English very well. So, one step at a time. But
Well,
one
I mean,
person.
you're American. You're American. I'm Australian. What do we know about
I know,
English?
right? It's one person we haven't talked to yet. Ian is in the booth and kind of
Mr. P4.
Yeah.
P4 from too. Yeah.
We just haven't had a chance to talk yet. Ian, how was the night for you?
Well, it started out great.
On the pole?
Got a pole.
It was a night full of opportunity and promise.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just about 2 to 4 seconds before I lost it on that corner, someone decided they had to speak to me in real life. And unfortunately, I probably would have lost it myself anyway, but never mind.
Right.
But no, it was. I still enjoyed it. It was a great race. I had a lot of fun. Managed to get from dead last back up to P4, so I can't complain about that. Unfortunately, I'm kicking myself. I have got to get the whole fuel pit strategy down better because I overfueled the car at the second pit stop.
Oh.
I could have come out in front of Pim if I had taken a bit less fuel, and that's something I've got to figure that out. I'm not there with it yet, but both races, huge amount of fun. I got very confused in the SF1 race because my erstwhile pit manager or race manager Chris was telling me that I was like P21, but my iRacing was reporting P30 something.
Oh, interesting.
I'm confused.
Just hit the loud pedal and go.
Yeah, this is what we try to do. But no, it was great fun. A lot of fun racing. Again, I thought that for the most part, everybody was very respectful. And it's amazing to see, again, 45 skippies navigating that first lap on cold tires and having, still 40 odd cars on the track after that.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it still blows my mind. I mean, you look at a pub race and you've got what, maybe 20, 15, something like that. And, by the time your first lap's over, half of them are gone,
Right.
So, congrats to everybody in the league. And I know people get frustrated. I know people find it tough sometimes. Accidents do happen. But, hang in there. We're working our fingers to their nub ends, as they say, to try and make sure that everything stays, as good as it can do for everybody. I was a little confused with the weather though.
Hey, I'll tell you what. I actually meant to bring this up with Jason. I followed his instructions exactly to the T, and I'm not throwing Jason under the bus. It was all me, but I saw nothing wrong with the setup. But man, it made I feel like I have cataracts forming in my eyes or something like that watching the broadcasts. Like, it made it very
I think you picked the Mad Max apocalypse settings, which would explain we ran out of fuel a bit during the race.
Or it could have been explained why, Jonathan said it was a little slicker than what he's used to. It's probably because all the water condensing on the track there is what I would imagine.
Probably. I mean, I thought, welcome to 2021. I thought we left 2020 behind. Yes, this was not my favorite part of the race. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he slipped out in front of me, unfortunately, and I just ran into him. I had nowhere to go. Yeah, sad. Just as I was saying how clean we were.
Right. For the most part.
But even so, it was a good race. Managed to get back up a few places after that. So I was definitely happy with that. And finally got myself into the 09s, which I was really impressed with myself on.
Nice.
So, 2 minutes 09, I never would have thought I would have made that kind of speed on this track. So, for what I did personally, I'm.
And that's something I've been banging on about quite a bit, Ian, is that I've had races where, I'm fighting for P20, but I'm fighting for it. Everyone, no matter if you're fighting for P40 or P2 or whatever, you're having a race with someone. That's, getting that many cars around the track so that so everyone's near, you get pockets of people near each other is quite an incredible feat that, I'm staggered that this league's managed to do. As you say, there's always incidents. There's always, a rush of blood here and there, but this is so much cleaner than other leagues I've been in, and especially officials, where at least you get the feeling that people are trying to do the right thing. They're racing hard, but they're not trying to kill you, and that makes you relax and race better to the best of your ability.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, we've fostered a group of folks who want to race hard, but they're not going to race stupid, right? They're not just going to throw the car into the corner. Even if they were there on their own, they wouldn't make it. You know what I mean? They're going in so hot that they can't make that corner, let alone with any other cars around. People seem to be much more respectful, and try to actually race. And I love it. I mean, go back to why Jason and I formed this in the first place. I got so sick and tired of running in pub races where people kept crashing into me, and that was really the ethos, the guiding ethos behind the whole of Sunday Night Skippy. We want people who want to race, but want to race without just, to hell with everybody except for me.
Yeah.
But I'm not just going to put my vehicle into a hole that, there's just no way it's ever going to happen. I think we've got there. And I'm really pleased with how everybody's doing. Did I actually pass this person? Probably not. Oh my God. I did.
Plus, also in officials that, it doesn't bother me too much, but people get it into their heads. They're focused on I rating or safety rating, and really those things are just there to, I ratings there to just match make you against people of your own pace. It doesn't really matter what your pace is. It doesn't matter if you're 2 seconds off alien pace. If you're out there and having a race and you're having fun, that's the main thing.
Yeah. Absolutely right. I think that I want to see more folks join the league. I think the SF2 racing seems to be doing quite well. I'm really pleased with how that's working. It would be nice to see maybe 4 or 5 more races join us in that one, just to build out the grid just a tiny bit. But yeah, we're having a lot of fun there.
that just shows the point that the F2 race is no less exciting to watch and commentate on than the F1 race. You're all out, you know. You might be half a second slower, but you're all out there having a go, and it's great to see, and it's so much fun when no one's trying to kill you. You know, as you say, when no one's making the classic rookie mistake of thinking, oh, they're going wide, there must be a gap in that corner, but no, they're just taking the corner wide, and that gap doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So no, I mean, good job, guys. I hope you enjoyed the races. I missed
I
hearing
loved
you
it.
in my head.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
And
But
look,
I'm
Jason,
really intrigued for next week. I think maybe what I'll do is do the SF2 race and then commentate the SF1, because I really want to be talking about you, mate, and seeing that Edwin's following you, right?
yeah, well, you see, I've got it in the bag because what I figured is that I'll beat Edwin and maybe Jason will be ahead of me, but I know he chokes if he's under pressure on the last lap and he'll just chuck it into the grass. But I'll tell you what, Jason Bice is a good example of all this stuff because he's fast as anything, man. He's faster than me. But if you look at our I rating, you'd say I was the better driver, which is absolutely rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, since really getting into the league, I have really not bothered with pub races, and so if you look at my I rating and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't really move much because I just can't be. This is so much more fun. We have the Wednesday night race, we have the Friday night race. We have the winter challenge on Saturdays. This is so much more fun than the pub races ever are. Why would I bother going into the pub races? I'm just not interested in going there with a bunch of folks who just don't care. It's just, we'll just press reset and do it again.
That's right. And also, I know that Decker's internet is a bit flaky as well, so I've got that on him as well. So
there you go.
This is just an intel gathering venture for you, isn't it? You're just looking for the inside scoop on all these drivers.
That's right. I was just looking. Hey, look, anyone out there is looking for someone else's weaknesses, and I'm talking it up. I'm probably going to finish 40th next week, but Imola's a fun track. Maybe whet people's appetite for next week because Imola has got a really great long straight, so there's enough time. Unlike the tracks we've had in the last couple of weeks, there's enough time to make a nice clean pass on someone on the straight. If you're in front, there's nothing you can do about it, but you can use it to build up more speed with someone else. But there's enough technical stuff there. There's a few corners that will separate people apart. So if you're decent, you're going to pull ahead. If you make a mistake, you're going to fall behind. And it's been a couple of weeks since we've had a race like that in a Skippy. So I'm really looking forward to racing next week, actually.
Yeah, it should be interesting. And what a historic track to be racing on.
Yeah, beautiful. It was so good to see it back in the F1 calendar this year. I think Imola, these more old school tracks where I mean, it doesn't really affect people so much in a Skippy, but where the runoff isn't just a great big car park that you can just plow through like Suzuka is, where you gotta watch the grass and you've got to watch a bit of gravel. It makes for really good racing.
It does indeed. As you say, it was a lot of fun to watch F1 down there this year. I don't think they're going to be there next year, which I'm sad about. But I'm also pleased that we've only got another few weeks before F1 starts up again. So, we go and see the testing. I think they're doing it in Bahrain this time, or Abu Dhabi or somewhere. But yeah, that's only a few weeks away, and then they're over in your neck of the woods, mate.
Yeah, because it means you've got to drive. You don't get these discussions about drivers saying, "Oh, well, I'm going off limits on the track here, but there's no advantage." Well, if you're not, your car wouldn't be out there. If there's a wall or there's grass, they don't hit it, do they?
Well, yeah. So that's like, was it Belle Isle, right?
Ah, fun track, man, fun track. Actually, I'm looking forward to. I haven't raced it yet, but is it Long Beach? Is that the name of it? I haven't tried that one yet, but that looks a bit Belle Isle-y, lots of walls, no room for error, no runoff.
You got to be very precise there, and also it's very bumpy. So yeah, I have not
Excellent.
raced it yet. I've not raced it yet, but I am looking forward to that. Should be a lot of fun, that particular race. But yeah, so Chris, it's getting late, mate.
Yeah, I've got nothing to add. I will say I did run the Indy Pro 2000 at Long Beach. It was a lot of fun. I had a unforced error that took me out of the race. So nothing against the track, but I'm really looking forward to the Skippies being there. It feels much more Skippy-esque. I also like to run the IR18s, the Indy cars. They are going to Long Beach. They go there in real life, and I don't know that I could fathom that. It just gives you so much respect for what that track is, but it should be a ton of fun. I think they ran that there in week 13, the Skippies there at Long Beach, and I'm looking forward to calling that action and seeing you guys run around it. But yeah, definitely very Belle Isle-esque with the walls and the city course and all that. But yeah, I've got nothing else. It was a ton of fun. Thank you very much, Paul, for joining. You are always welcome. Into the booth. You always bring a lot of good perspective, and nobody likes to hear my inner monologue, for hours on end. So it's definitely a welcome respite for everybody, and just getting somebody who's actually racing and fast and getting their perspective, because for me, I know a bit, but it's just good to get your take on things, because I never would have guessed a lot of the things that you end up saying. So
Decker, I'm fast. Someone else has called me fast, Decker. I don't know if you've ever raced with Decker 2 inches behind your backside, but it's not pleasant. So you hear that, man? I'm coming for you.
There you go. I love
Next
it.
week is going to be fun, guys.
That was so much fun. I really enjoyed that. It was for tracks like that, it's as much fun, because I feel for the drivers. I get into their skin. I really enjoy seeing them having fun out there. And when it's a track that I don't think I'm particularly good at, or I'm a bit sketchy at, it's really great to be up here in the commentary box and just talk rubbish, really. So thank you very much for the chance.
Anytime. And I'm looking forward to Imola. I think I do not think that I've ever personally run there, although I own the track and I've seen races there. Very excited for it. The other thing that I just want to touch on really quick, we did have our last Winter Challenge for Charity race last night, and it was a lot of fun. It was the 360 sprint cars at Eldora. I think we touched on it for the Formula 2 race, but if you get a chance, go to Apex Racing TV. I don't have anything to throw up on the screen, unfortunately, but Apex Racing TV, if you just search for Winter Challenge for Charity, Apex Racing TV, it'll come up on YouTube. Check it out. We had a lot of fun, raised money for charity, and it's all your favorite Sunday Night Skippy, at least 23 of us, 23 of your favorite Sunday Night Skippy drivers / broadcasters, and we had a lot of fun going out there. Adam Wright won the night, got $250 for his charity of choice, which is the Chicago Independent Venue League, I believe. I may be messing that up, but congrats to him. And there's other cash prizes given out as well. Not cash prizes, but donations given out as well. And so that's good. Our next one's going to be the Daytona 250, which is the NASCAR, cup cars like you'd see on TV at Daytona. And so it's going to be pack racing. We're going to have incentives for teams. So once again, this is all for charity. It's all for a good cause. The intent is that you're outside of your comfort zone. I've got a lot of feedback that I don't know that I'm really comfortable doing that. Well, that's kind of the point. That's the whole point of this, is we got Skippy drivers, getting outside of our comfort zones and just trying something else just for fun and for a good cause. So check it out. We'll have more information coming up on the next race. There's 2 remaining. It'll be the Daytona 250 and then the championship, which is going to be Skip Barber Formula 2000s at Iowa. So Skippy on Oval, and that should be a good time. So keep your eyes out open for that.
Yeah,
more information to come.
That sounds. Yeah, there's no rubbing in that one, is there?
No. Well, unless you want to go airborne. So.
Exactly. And of course, Chris, there is the mystery tease that we can give people.
Oh, yes. Do you have one ready? Because I don't have anything ready. I don't feel like I want to improvise that.
I was going to say there will be a mystery tease that we're going to come out with probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fair.
That people can be getting their teeth into, but yeah, we'll see how that one comes. So watch this space.
More to come. All the more reason to just be a part of this fantastic league, and there's always something on the horizon, always something different and exciting coming next. Well, gentlemen, it's been a lot of fun. I need to hit the hay, but I always like talking. I feel like we could do this for hours, but at any rate, any last thoughts from you guys?
Nah, I've got no thoughts in general anyway, so, you know.
There you go.
I'm looking forward to watching the broadcast tomorrow, so yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Perfect. Well, we're on hour 4, so carve out some time. But other than that, thanks everybody for watching and listening. We will be with you next week at Imola, something that I'm very excited to call. If anybody's got any feedback, let us know. Otherwise, we will see you next week, same time, same channel. Check us out on YouTube, Twitch. We'll keep both of those streams going for the foreseeable future. And apologies for the technical glitches, but at the same time, it is what it is. I don't really care. So we'll see everybody next week. And congratulations to all the racers. A lot of fun. This is nothing. This is not fun without 43 of some of the most awesome people and drivers that I know on iRacing. Just getting together every Sunday to do this together. Just what a cool thing. I don't know how else to put it, but it's just a really neat thing, and happy to be a part of it. So we'll see everybody next week, and take care of yourselves until then. Peace out.